The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
I don't see any attendees.
Probably because people are still in that Teams. I see 20 plus people there.
What Teams thing?
The Teams meeting link.
But I think we have people that register. Hey, Nick, can you hear us? Are you able to? Okay, I can see people, so I can see the attendees list populating. So let's wait for a little bit. And probably I'll try to unmute a few. Oh, so the password was a little bit wrong. Or yeah, actually there should not be any password. Or maybe some people were asked for a password when joining.
We had to do a password because I think GoToMeetings changed up their settings and no longer allows for password meetings.
Yeah. Okay, I can see people joining. So let's wait for 1 more minute. I apologize that we'll start a little bit later, but yeah, let's wait to see if more people will join. Okay, maybe we can get started because we have quite a few. I see people are still joining. Welcome everyone to our June webinar. Apologies for some of the technical issues. We also had a few because of the Zscaler that was deployed recently. I do hope people can join. I do see the list of attendees growing, so hopefully people can join. Matt, can you move to the next slide, please? So today's session will cover quite a bit. Within the June release, we are introducing quite a few functionalities. So we'll work through what's new in this release and all platform, all product from all our squad will actually present today. We'll talk about the UIT timelines and of course what's coming in the next July release. If you have questions throughout, please use the QA panel and our team will be responding in real time. If we have time at the end, we'll pick a few as well. If not, all the questions we don't get during the session, we will follow up with their answers. With that, I'll hand over to Matt to walk us through the functionality the Audi Squad has implemented.
Thanks, Alex. Okay, so to start off with, I'm going to take you through what the audit squad's implemented. The first piece that we're going to be looking at will be the ability to expand on the financial grouping structures, making financial grouping structures available across all levels of authoring. So the why are we doing this is basically, as a starting point, only primary authors ever had the ability to create financial grouping structures, and it was limited to 3. It meant that basically there wasn't the flexibility that working papers had, for example, where users could go in, create their own financial grouping structures or grouping structures and present the data in a way that suited them for their reporting needs. So they had to, users currently have to go with the information that's provided by primary author. So what we've introduced is we've expanded the primary author financial groupings to up to 10 financial groupings, but we've also introduced 10 financial groupings for each of the other 2 authoring levels, so enterprise author and financial firm author. we're also giving the end user the ability to introduce their own financial grouping structures as well. This will allow them to be able to basically group the trial balance in any format that they see fit for their individual financial statements. So what does that look like? So if we go into an engagement file as a starting point, what I've got set up within my engagement files, this has just been created off the back of an OnPoint audit. If I go into my data screen, what you'll see on the left-hand side, we've updated the left-hand menu. So we still see the data sets and the assign accounts through to accounts. However, we've introduced this group structures option, and we split it between my structures and default structures. Terminology wise, we might change the my structures to engagement structures, but it's just to give you an idea of what we're looking to present users with. The default structures will be provided for by the authoring. So this will be incorporate the primary author plus enterprise plus the firm authors grouping structures. So you'll see as they get enabled by the individual authoring, you'll start seeing those being listed down here. You can collapse those if you don't want to see those at this starting point. Within the My Structures option though, we've got this Create Group option. And if I click on the Create Group, this will allow me to create my first user group or user financial grouping structure from the user's perspective. So this is the user, the import that I'm going to be using, and what I've done is I've just set up the import very similar to what we provide for the authoring. So each of these columns are predefined, and these can be exported from the template itself. Over on the column X, I've introduced this mapping system. What this will allow me to do is basically link this to the default primary authored structure. This will allow me then to use a default assignment. So as soon as I assign something to inventory raw materials, what I'll see in my primary structure, it will go automatically in my firm authored version or my end user authored version straight into stocks raw materials. So I'm going to use this as my import. So I've set up user group 1. I can, if I want to, edit the group, so I can give it a new name. So Matt's user groups, and I can also then go in and import my groups. So using the 3 dot button, I want to import my groups, and from here I'm just going to drop in my financial group structures. And what I should see in my financial group structures is it will go through and it tells me I'm in my authoring mode, but I've got my financial group structures being imported straight into here. So something that we've never been able to do as an end user is import a financial grouping structure or the mapping structure. This will give us that ability to do that. And as I can see here, I've got all of my information coming through. Now, once I've got my grouping structure in place, I'm just going to import a trial balance. So my trial balance that I'm going to go through and import is just here. And I'm going to select trial balance. Just want to make sure I've got the right header. If I come into my import routine, what I'm going to do is go into the configure and just import my TB as usual. So my account number, my account name. I'm going to bring in the financial grouping number. Now this financial grouping number refers to the default financial grouping structure. So this is the one that the primary author has introduced. And I'm just going to import my current year and prior year. And if I import that, what I should see coming through is my trial balance. It should come through some of it already pre-mapped. So I've got my trial balance coming through, and just so you can see in my financial groups, so this is the default structure that comes from the primary author. I have my financial group showing up. If I go into my grouping structure, I can start seeing that this is starting to populate my financial groupings as well. And it's based on the link between my financial groups from the primary author to my user inserted financial groups. If I go to assign accounts, what I'll be able to see within the assign accounts window is I've got my financial groups showing up. I can also go through and assign directly to my individual end user financial groupings as well. And you can see here my accounts are showing up. Now I've got two options here, my work in progress and prepayments. I'll just use as an example. So if I select work in progress and go to my assets and current assets, within my inventories, I can see here I've got work in progress, and I'm going to go through and assign that. Hopefully. This is always a problem with working on a beta site. Let's just refresh that, see if that's gone through. This one we are going through, just going through to testing, so it's not currently showing up on any of your beta sites. We'll be looking to push this to the beta sites over the next day or so. So I can see here my assets now has the inventory coming through, and within my inventories I can see work in progress has been mapped. If I use prepayments as well, if I come down to my prepaid expenses, so A0006, and put this to other prepaid expenses, let's just see that going across. So I've gone through and mapped those two, but if I go to my user group version, my user inserted financial groups, I can see here that prepayments hasn't actually gone through and be pre-assigned, and that's because I didn't put a link in between the two grouping structures. With regards to the work in progress though, I did put the link in, which is why my work in progress has gone through and been assigned automatically for me. So if I look in my structure, I'll be able to see within inventories that particular account that I've just pushed across showing up correctly. Now at the moment we've set it up so users can go through and generate these. If I add in further user groups, as we start adding user groups in, you'll be able to see that there's no data found. We go into the authoring mode and you can create and import the structures as you see fit. If you've imported structures that you don't want to show up, or created structures that you don't want to show up, on the three-dot button there is the ability to just hide this from the listing. So if you don't want to see all of the information showing up, three-dot button and select hide from list, and this will just remove it from your view. And so we can tidy up our view. If I click on the three-dot button next to group structures and go to my group structure settings, what I'll be able to see is I can enable them back in here as well. So I can start bringing them back into my view. And so I'll be able to start seeing that information showing up through my three-dot button. So for the 2026 release, this is our starting point for expanding the financial groupings. What you'll see in 2026-07 is the ability to use these financial groupings within areas such as the financial statements and also within Connector. So there'll be enhancements that will be coming through as we work our way through the life of this particular feature. We'll also be looking to see if we can expand on the analysis pieces. So users will be able to use this within the analysis widgets and actually use their financial grouping structures rather than the default. So they're items that will be coming as we work our way through. If anybody has any questions, please post those in the chat, and I'll go through and answer those once I've finished that piece. Some of the other changes that we put through, we've been looking at the tax adjustments and tax groupings and enhancements, and this is really been a push from the US market to make sure that we're getting into a position where we can release the tax product nicely. So we've introduced two enhancements for any of the tax apps, which is looking at expanding on the tax adjustments columns on the data page. So at the moment within the data page, we only see the combined tax adjustment. So if you're looking to release this as a schedule or as a deliverable, you only get one adjustment coming through. We've expanded this so users will be able to show all of the different tax adjustments within the data page. And we'll also do the subtotaling as well, so it reflects the current deliverable that's within the tax product. Another enhancement we've put through is the ability for users to add to the tax grouping. At the moment within the tax grouping, if you've got tax codes enabled as far as the grouping structures are concerned, you have to go with what the primary author has delivered. This will allow users to go through and on the fly add their own tax grouping into there as well, so you can expand on the tax groupings on a per engagement basis. So if I just come into my tax groups, what I'll be able to see from here, we've introduced some of the tax groupings, and so you'll be able to see the tax federal, tax final, and as we go through here, we start subtotaling for the different adjustment types. So I'll get my final, any tax federal adjustments will total up, and then my state, and I'll get my tax federal and state coming through. So we start having those subtotals coming in. That's all stored within the columns, and you'll be able to enable these individual columns as you work your way through here. Now, in order for that to flow through, users will need to go into, or authors will need to go into the product settings. Within groups, what you'll see within groups, or within the data page, sorry, is the option for enable split tax adjustment columns. So you will need to go through and enable that in order to have that ability to split out your different tax grouping. The other point is up in the top right hand corner where I click on add, we've now introduced the ability to add groups. So if you need to expand on particular groupings, you've got the ability to do that now on a engagement by engagement basis. Okay, moving on, we've got some quality of life enhancements coming through. So we've got three quality of life enhancements that we want to flag and raise during this call. The first one is the ability for enterprise and firm authors to export the visibility conditions. So currently only a primary author has the ability to go through and export visibility conditions. So it does make it very difficult for the other authoring levels to see where any of the dependencies are and how those visibility conditions are being created. So we've introduced that into the enterprise author and the firm author's view when they're going through tailoring their templates. I'll show you that in a second. We've gone through and updated the tabular Excel export. So previously we introduced the tabular Excel export to give you a much neater looking deliverable. Part of that deliverable though was allowing users to export a consolidated TB. Unfortunately, the consolidated TB was missing the entity names and it was just coming up with CY across each of the entities. This will go through and provide the entity names on each of the column headers as well. So it just gives you a more complete deliverable. And then finally, we're introducing visibility conditions on the risk assessment. So on the risk assessment, it's a very manual process for users to have to go through and exclude areas that they don't want to see coming through. We're providing users with, or authors with, the ability to add some visibility conditions onto it, which I will take you through. So the first one I'm going to take you through is just the export the visibility condition. So as a primary author, what you'll be able to do is within the information option, you've got the export visibility conditions. This will be in exactly the same place for your enterprise and firm authors as well. So they'll be able to come into here, select the export visibility conditions. And what this will do is it will give us our visibility conditions. And so as a primary author or firm author, or as a enterprise author, you'll be able to see the conditions. So we break it down by document, by procedure type, and then give you your visibility conditions as you work your way through. So it gives them much more visibility into what's being changed if they're looking to make adjustments throughout the template. The other piece that I can just demo is within the risk and controls and the assessments. What you'll see in here, we've got our different cycles coming through. If I expand on my individual cycle or area, we've introduced this option now. So previously you just had the exclude option. Now as an author, I have the ability to come into here and edit my visibility. So users can now, or authors can now go in and set more complex visibility settings rather than having to manually exclude different areas. So it gives users that ability to go through and put in different conditions as to when certain elements should show or they should hide. So users don't have to go through and manually hide things now. They'll have that ability to incorporate visibility conditions. Okay, just moving on now into the last piece to show you from the audit squad, which is the budget balances. So within the budget balances, basically, we've always had the ability to bring in actual balances. We've never had that option to bring in any budgets. And so when we're branching out from into more specialized areas such as government reporting or different reporting types, we've not had the ability to present any budgets within the financial statements or within the data page. So we're bringing this in to basically remove a gap that users were experiencing. So within the budgets, what we've introduced is we've introduced the ability for the data page users to be able to see bring in an initial and a revised budget. They'll be able to see that within the data page on all of the different views within the data page. You'll be able to go through and import the budget balances. When we get to the financial statements, users will introduce the ability for new columns for users to have budgets coming through within the financial statements should they wish to. And we'll also introduce the users the ability to have a data link option, so they can bring out those budget or revised balances within the within formulas, along with Cloud Connector, which we'll show in a little bit. So we've got a whole host of further options with regards to the budgets. So I'm just going to go back into an engagement file. Now for the budgets, again, primary authors will need to come into settings. Within the data page options, the trial balance, they will need to go through and enable budget balances. So we won't turn it on by default. This is going to be a product setting for users or for authors to introduce this when they're ready to have that enabled. So if I come into here and just create a new budget engagement, what we'll see within the budget engagement, just wait for my engagement to create. So what we have coming through here, if I go into my data page, I'm going to import my budget for columns. Let's make sure I get the right trial balance. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my trial balance into here and select my TB. Oops. So for this release, when we're going through for budget balances, as part of the import process, we do need to bring in the budget and the actual final balances at the same time. We will be looking to improve on that process though, so imports can work independently of each other for budgets and the actual balances. But if I just go in and select my account number and account name, I'm going to bring in my financial group number as well, just for speed. And then if I come across and look at my columns, so this one's going to be my current year balance. This one I'll have as my revised budget, and I'll also have this one as my initial budget. And so we've introduced two new budget amounts. So it's only current year that you can import. It'll be initial and revised. But as a user, you will have the ability within the terminology to go through and set up how you want your budget header to come through. So any labels for initial, if you prefer different terminology, you'll have that ability to introduce that, and that'll filter all the way through. So once I've gone through and set up my column headers, if I just go through and import, we'll be able to see that my trial balance has imported. If I go to my accounts what I'll see now within my accounts is my initial and revised budget showing up along with my preliminary. If I click on variance and just enable my variance, we've introduced a couple of extra variances as well. So initial to revised, and then we've got our current to revised as well. So we can start seeing those budgets variance options coming through. So we've got it in the accounts. We'll also have it in our financial groups as well. So users will be able to see that information filter through into our financial group section. If we go into hidden items and just show up how this will look in the analysis as well. Within the analysis, if I go into, say, my inventories and look at my analysis, users will be able to see the analysis based on either the final, the planning, or you have got that ability to start seeing the analysis by the initial budget and revised budget as well. So if I select my revised budget, it will go through and update my balances further down. So this will go through and update those balances based on the particular balance type that you're looking at as you're working your way through. So we've got that information showing up. We also have within the data link, users will be able to select, and apologies for the clarity of my screenshot here, but users will be able to select, rather than actual balance, we'll introduce the budget balance. And again, users will be able to introduce this for formula purposes or for data links. So if you need to refer to this within letters or within the financial statements, you'll have the ability to do that. Within Cloud Connector, you'll have the option for selecting the balance type. So whether it's a budget, initial or revised, or if it's final coming through, and users will be able to select that relevant information coming out as well, as far as that information is concerned. Okay, so that's everything that I wanted to take you through as far as the initial revised budget's concerned. We've got Andrew who's going to be running through the next piece. So let's just give Andrew the ability to take the screen on.
Thanks, Matt. Just give me a second to share my screen. Oops. Am I a presenter right now, Matt? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you should be. Yep, you should be a presenter now.
Okay, great. Give me 1 second. All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. So today I'm going to talk to you about the financial statements. So the financial team also helped to expand what Matt was talking about earlier with the initial and budget balances. So we've added 2 new columns to the dynamic tables in financial statements to allow you to bring in those values. So I'll play this short demo now and just demo the feature.
You can speak over it, Andrew, if you can. I don't think we can hear the audio.
Okay. So we added 2 new budget balances to the data page, the initial budget and the revised budget. So as long as those values are there, we'll be able to pull them into the dynamic table. So now I'll open a dynamic table and show you those 2 new columns here. So you can go to your edit dynamic tables just like normal. You can add in a new column and you'll have 2 new options, initial budget and revised budget. So first I'll add an initial budget. Go to type and go to initial budget here. I'll just enter the heading as initial and it pulls in the values that are in my data page. I'm gonna add another column now, and that will be the revised budget column. So I'll add a new column, go to type, hit revised budget, I'll also name that column revised, and then it will show the new values for the revised budget that are in the data page. So now that we have the ability to show the initial and revised budget as well as the current year, we can show the comparison between all of them. And we don't need to go outside of the engagement in order to have that comparison there. And that's about it for me. So those two new budget column types, initial and revised budget balances.
Thank you, Andrew. For any questions on anything that Matt showed or Andrew showed, please continue to post it in the question panel, and the team is going to address there, or we will read them aloud at the end. Andrew, can you make Edison the presenter?
Yeah, no problem. I don't think Edison's in the presenter list.
No, already in the presenter mode, so don't worry about that. So I will share my screen.
Sure.
Let's try to find my screen. Show my screen. Can you see my screen right now? Okay, it's showing. Okay. So in order to accommodate the changes in the IC platform, so we also introduce these two new data points, initial and revised budget balance in Sherlock. Basically, these two new data points will be available in the trial balance and the mapping data sets or endpoints if you use the Sherlock API. Basically, from the screenshot, you can see the initial budget. Actually, we use this column name, initial underscore budget, and a revised budget. Basically, we are using the budget year 0. We intentionally return the using this budget the field existing field name to retain to maintain the schema consistency with working papers. So if you using Sherlock Builder or Reader under the either mapping or trial balance data set, so you can see there's a new field name called initial underscore budget, and also the budget 0. We can also capture the revised budget balance from the cloud engagements. So these two columns is also available in the trial balance and the mapping view. So that is all my demo today.
Thank you, Edison. Next, we have Sean. Sean, can you hear us?
Yep, I can. Just give me 1 second. I am trying to fiddle around with my screens. And here we go. Okay, so we're going to pivot away from the budget conversation right now and hop into another area of SE that we've made some improvements. The first one is going to be around the history viewer, where we are taking the first round of the history viewer and making it available to the end user. So I have a quick demo that is that's going to show the first round of the history viewer. So the history viewer can be found within all engagement files once we roll out 2026-06 to production. It will show historic information that existed before we rolled out 06. So this would be beneficial for all new and existing engagement files. So if we go ahead and open up an engagement file, go into the eye icon, you'll see a new option called History Viewer. Upon clicking that, you'll see the full list of the 4 actions that we currently cover within the History Viewer, which is the access, the import, lockdown, and unlock. So you can see here, I have some information that was generated. This is one of my favorite engagement files. So you can see that I have accessed it a couple of times, and I can see that Matt has also accessed this engagement file. I'm going to have to follow up with Matt to see why he's in my engagement, but that's a separate conversation. You can see that I've also done an import within this engagement file, and now I will do a lockdown just to show you how that will look. So now that the engagement file is going through the lockdown, and if I were to go back into the history viewer, you can see that the file is now showing the lockdown status, and I'm accessing the file once again. This is our first version of the history viewer, so we are planning to do additional enhancements to this, such as bringing back in the creation, the change, and the deletion actions. But for now, we are scoping this in for the version 1 of simply just showing access. So yeah, we have the ability to search. If you want to search for a specific user here, I'll highlight it. And we have the time frame selector here. So again, sort of the first round, we're open to feedback on what you'd like to see next. Feel free to reach out to me and send me that feedback, or if you do see anything a little bit wonky here, again, post a disk ticket and we can have a look. Okay. One other thing to note is that this functionality will be available to firm authors and enterprise authors, as well as primary authors. And the view that they will get is the more comprehensive view, which will give them this view here. Whoops, if I do that correctly, which will give them the full history viewer, which has all the create, edit, and delete actions. So from the authoring level, you'll have a little bit more access, and you can look at the information from here. There's also some drill down and stuff like that. But for the end user, they are getting a pared down list while we take the time to make the information more consumable for an end user. Okay. I do see one question here from Joe. I'm going to answer that separately, just because we're running a little bit tight on time. The next feature that I'm going to be presenting is the export of issues list to Microsoft Excel. So while we are building this, the engagement team in the past has sort of, whenever you've had issues, had to essentially print out the issues to deliver it to the client, or take it internally to have a conversation with your team to make sure that you're iterating through and learning from mistakes. So this produced a document that wasn't really end user friendly. So what we've done is that we've added the export button within the issues. We now allow the issues to be exported as an Excel file, and it is a lot more consumable and presentable for a firm, sorry, for your contacts or for practice management sake. So you can see here within this engagement, I have a couple of issues that were already posted, some resolved, some still outstanding. I'm going to go ahead and click the export button, and upon exporting and opening up the Excel file, hopefully you'll still see the Excel file if I shared my screen correctly. Coming up, so you should be able to see my Excel file right now, and you can see that all the issues have been exported to an Excel file. Leveraging the Microsoft Excel grouping functionality, grouping and outlines, you can see that the conversations under each of the issues are retained as well as grouped together. If I wanted to do advanced filtering, so for example, selecting the columns here, clicking filter, and I can want to only see the resolved issues, I can see those, and of course expand them. The conversations will continue to flow to that top level issue, so you'd have all the issues and comments related together. And yeah, it's pretty straightforward there. One other thing I will mention is that the left-hand filter is reflective of what's being exported. So what you see is what you get. So if you did want to filter just the outstanding and hit export, those are the issues that you would get. Okay, cool. I believe that is it for me, and I'll hand it off to the next presenter.
Thanks, Sean. Yanni is the next presenter who will go through the enhancements for the XBRL. Hey, Yanni.
All right. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Just trying to make myself a presenter. There we go. So for XBRL, we've had 2 enhancements in the 06 release. The first one is the overridden tags, which previously was red, which create some issues for users with color deficiencies. So we've made that a dark amber, and I will demo that. And we've also introduced a broken border around the overridden tag. So it's not just relying on color alone, but the broken border is also a visual. And while we're on the screen, what we've also, hello, yes, am I not sharing my screen?
Yes, we can see it now. Yeah.
Okay. And what we've also introduced is in the paragraph, you've got your calculation object. You can now tag that. So let's showcase that quickly. So here we go. So this is how it was previously with the overridden tag being read. Yeah, so what we have introduced now is that an overridden tag will become this dark amber. And also we've introduced the broken border for that. So this goes for paragraph tags, system table tags, and your objects. Because this is a dark amber and previously a custom tag is a similar color, we had to change the custom tag to a blue color now. So any custom tag will go blue. Once it becomes system tags, that goes green, of course, that stays green. What we've also enhanced is just the selection. So when you do select any tag, you can see that with the black border around it. Now, just to demonstrate the overridden tags, so if I just go to a system tag and we change that, straight away it goes to the overridden tag. Okay, so that is the enhancement for the color. And the second functionality that we've introduced is adding or tagging the calculation object. So previously within a paragraph, you can tag a placeholder, you can tag a formula, but what you couldn't tag was the calculation. So let me just add a calculation in here. And let's just activate the tagging again. There we go. So let's tag this. You can now see that the two objects which were formulas is now appearing. And it goes as tagged. And that is the demo for XBRL.
Thank you very much, Benny.
I am now changing to Shiv.
Thank you. Please bear with me. I'll try to make myself the presenter. Sorry, I think I'm having security settings issue. I might have to rejoin. Maybe the next person can go first.
Sure, Shiv, I can try to share them. Sean, maybe if you are, can you share your screen, because probably I have the same security issues, or I'm not the presenter.
You are not the presenter. I can make you one.
If you can make me.
Cool. There you go, Alex.
Yeah, thank you. I will share my screen now. Okay, I hope people can see it. So I'm going to speak a little bit about three more enhancements we are adding on the SC platform. Within this release, we are also adding the ability to download financial statements to PDF-A option while you are in print preview. Before, this option did not exist while you are in print preview, only when you were in the financial statements itself. So now we have consistency between the options to export or to download a financial statement. Behind the hood, we have also made significant changes to generate the download reference copy. This option is used by our customers to download all the content of our engagement files to PDF files. So the team has worked in the backend to improve this process. So we do expect that the download will be faster, but also less prone to errors, especially for the engagement, large engagements with hundreds of documents that get exported to PDF. And the third one that I want to speak about is the update of the KShared protocols that we are using to open PDFs directly. So within our SC platform, within an engagement, when we have a PDF document, the users can open those in two ways: either to copy the URL of that engagement and then open through the Adobe, or the second option is to launch it directly with any PDF editor or viewer they have access on their machine. Now, the second option, to open the PDF directly, uses or makes use of a protocol that gets installed on the Windows machines, and we have updated that version. So that will be available in this new release. However, there are no changes within the workflow, or there are no breaking changes with the old protocol. The user can still continue the old protocol. The new one just addresses some of the infrastructure requirements and will work with the newer version of Windows 11, mainly for clients where the web client is not installed anymore because it was deprecated by Windows. Okay, with that, I'm going to move to the SC Builder's slide. So with SC Builder, the most significant update that we are introducing in this June release, also because our busy season restrictions have ended, is migrating to a new modern Angular framework. So for anyone not familiar with what SC Builder is, SC Builder provides our solution a framework through which we can build custom forms. Quite a few of our solution teams are using SC Builder to create these forms. Now, before those were built using the AngularJS. However, AngularJS is at the end of life. So continuing using AngularJS imposes some security risks and with almost no upstream patches. However, or in the same time, it was a slower developer onboarding on it and higher maintenance cost. And of course, it was making things very painful for the team to update or to improve or to perform meaningful UI and UX investment. So within this release, there were multiple phases in the previous years almost. So the Angular migration was a multi-year effort. But within with the changes introduced in the June release, now we have the full migration of the SC Builder component to Angular. There are a few affected areas in the sense that all these functionalities, APIs were migrated to the new version. We have provided extensive documentation for the UIT period, and actually before it was starting, so that we can do a proper testing on these affected areas. So I'll not get into the details today. Okay, some additional enhancements for SC Builder. Now you are able to detect active user on a specific SC document. So you can now prevent calculations from running on forms that are not present in the document manager. One improvement around the document map sidebar, which I think by default before was just open in an expand state. Now you can configure it to be collapsed by default when a document opens, giving users a clearer initial view of the content. And you will also be able to control the name of the exported PDF documents in Document Manager. So you can now configure the document map sidebar to be, I made a mistake here. I will provide the details. Shiv, are you back now?
Yes, I'm back. I think I should be able to share now.
Yes, please. I'll start sharing.
Okay, I think you're able to see my screen now.
Yes, we can see Shiv.
Okay. All right, so the first item that I will demo today is the general entry view in Analytics Hub. So currently, the way Analytics Hub provided the results as well as the exports, it used to tag items based on the analytic for specific like line items. So this required the auditors to move out of the application to actually reconstruct the full general entry because the general entry would provide the entire context of the transaction. So now what has changed is the primary authors can enable the general entry view within their product. And what that would do is link all the line items together. So let me show you how that would look like. So first of all, from the primary author setting, you would go into the information icon and go to the settings, then go to the Analytics Hub, and then you have this new option available here, which is Enable General Entry View. So what that would do is if I have run a test, first of all, it will tell me how many general entries have been flagged throughout the data set based on the total number of general entries. So in this data set, I have these many general entries and it's flagged 1.7% of those. And within the grid itself, if I was to expand it, it will group all the line items within that general entry together. And we've added the alternate colors here to donate each of the entries. So within this one entry, this one item has been flagged by that transaction, which is donated by this warning sign here. Similarly, for the next entry, we have the alternating colors, and then you have the items that have been flagged. These changes, like the metadata updates, would also be shown in the export. The grid changes, particularly the row coloring, would also be reflected in the aggregated result view. So that was it for this one. The next item that I had was this, setting the sample sizes manually. So right now within the tool, we had systematic sampling and random sampling, which would allow you to enter the sample sizes manually and do the sample size calculation outside of the tool. There were still sampling modules like the MUS and the attribute sampling, which were using the inbuilt calculator. So places where the firms wanted to use their own calculations outside of the application were not able to use those sampling methods. So now we've updated the MUS as well as the attribute sampling to include the ability to enter the sample sizes, but still use Analytics Hub to actually generate the sample set. So what that looks like is, so again, this can be enabled by going into the product setting here, and then I can use manual size. And then once I have selected that, I can go into the Analytics Hub, provided that I've already attached the sampling methods that I wanted to use. Then if I go to the attribute sampling here, you will see that the calculator configuration is no longer there. You just have the ability to enter the sample size. You still have the ability to duplicate, and as the authors set the default sample sizes that the doers will see. Similarly for MUS, MUS has two options for it. The sampling interval can be entered as well as the sample size. So we had some firms reach out that they wanted the ability to enter the sampling interval, and others wanted to use the sample size input. So we've provided both of them as the toggle option. It would be one or the other for that. Then the last item that I had, we've added a new analytic to filter general entries by key users. Previously, we did have a keyword search, but it was limited to description fields. Now we've added a new analytic for the JE, the general entry, as well as the GER, the general entry relevance rank, where the users would be able to filter by key users. You should be able to attach this test. Don't mind the curly brackets for now. This item is waiting on the translation strings to be updated, but now I should be able to filter key users based on the entered by and the entry approved by, and enter the specific usernames that I want to search. I can still apply the filters that exist for the analytics. And then I can run, it would show me the line items flagged, the general entries flagged, and so on. I believe that's it from my side. I'm not sure if anybody else is left.
Yeah, I'm left just to do the final slides. Sean, can you help me with? Yeah, thank you. Okay, hope you can see my screen. Just because I made a mistake on the previous slide about SE Builder. So the last functionality for the SE Builder, the control of the name of the exported PDF documents in Document Manager. So what you will see as a new is a new use exact title setting, which will accept the PDF title for SE Builder value to use verbatim as the document name. So this is going to be available in the 06 release. So closing our webinar today, I want to speak about the 2026-06 timelines. So our UIT period, because this release includes quite a few functionalities, which we are very excited about, is going to be for 2 weeks. So the UIT ends on Friday, June 26th. The translation is due June 22nd, and you do have the instructions on how to post any feedback or any issues that you are identifying during the testing phase. An update about the busy season, just because we are in June, time flies very fast. The busy season policy ended with this release. So we are not going to flag off any of the functionalities starting this release, and all of them will be on when we, well, both for the UIT as well as for the production. Basically, we are returning back to how it was before the busy season was imposed in January. Please keep in mind that also with this release, we will enable all the features that were kept off during the busy season, including those that were disabled by request, unless otherwise agreed. Of course, there is flexibility, and please reach out to us if there are any functionality that needs to be kept off, and we can discuss the reason and, of course, see what we can do. The production deployments for 06 will start June 29, 2026, with staggered releases each day for each of the region. In terms of what next, I will be focusing only on the next July release. So we are going to continue to deliver the additional functionality to support additional financial groupings in dynamic tables as well as in Cloud Connector, as well as delivering the multi-language apps, multi-language for audit apps for the areas where we don't have those yet. Specifically for the next release, the risk library, so supporting multi-language for both primary authors and enterprise authors when they are importing the risk, and some of the remaining product settings, risks control roles, with the assertions coming most likely in a next release, like in the August release. With that, I think we are on time. I have checked the questions, and I know most of them were already answered by my colleagues. So we'll provide also the list of questions and the answers provided via email when we share the recording. Thank you very much for your time. Looking forward for your feedback on the new functionalities, and see you in the next webinar in July. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks all.